Surrogacy asks intended parents to carry a heavy emotional load. Many arrive here after years of waiting, failed cycles, and complex fertility appointments. So when headlines appear announcing California's new SB 729 insurance law, it brings an immediate, understandable surge of hope to families looking for a path forward. The first question intended parents naturally ask is, does this new law mean my entire surrogacy journey is covered? Finding out the answer is no can be deeply discouraging. It can make you question if the process is actually becoming more accessible. A more useful question is to ask, which specific part of the family building process might this law help with? The reality of SB 729 is specific. The legislation focuses on IVF fertility treatment coverage, rather than providing blanket coverage for the entire surrogacy process. Viewing surrogacy as a single event is a mistake. It is a sequence of distinct medical and legal phases, beginning with the foundational step of IVF. Assuming complete financial coverage too early carries a risk. It often leads to emotional attachment to surrogate profiles before the financial and medical foundations are secure. Misinterpreting the scope of this law creates misaligned expectations, which often results in severe timeline delays. Separating the headline promise from the practical reality of Phase 1 IVF support is the essential first step to protecting your emotional and financial investment. Let's look at exactly where SB 729 fits. You must review specific plan documents and speak with your benefits administrator to see how these filters apply. For many families, the first medical milestone is understanding whether viable embryos can be created. That requires evaluating specific biological variables, whether that involves an intended mother's eggs, an egg donor, an intended father's sperm, or donor sperm. Establishing this foundational medical phase is critical for LGBTQIA+ and single parents who are building their path forward. Once those variables are evaluated, the next medical planning steps are embryo creation and embryo transfer planning. This medical readiness happens long before a surrogate match begins or legal paperwork is drafted. Determining your medical standing before looking for a match requires patience, but it is a necessary structural step. Securing embryo readiness first protects you from the emotional difficulty of starting a match without a confirmed medical foundation. Once embryo creation is secure, you enter Phase 2. This involves matching, medical record review, and legal coordination. This sequence also requires independent third-party bonded escrow, insurance review, pregnancy coordination, and delivery planning. To navigate these steps, we must identify who is responsible for surrogate medical clearance. At Egg Donor and Surrogacy Institute, we maintain a clear boundary. EDSI does not medically clear surrogates. Medical safety and final clearance belong exclusively to the fertility clinic and your endocrinologist. EDSI's function is to coordinate the logistical journey around that clinical process. We coordinate the match, organize the timeline, and liaise with clinics and attorneys to keep the process moving. Because of the complexities involved, you should consult with legal, financial, and insurance professionals for individualized guidance on your benefits. Confirming these details requires upfront effort, but it prevents you from making decisions based on incomplete information. Clearly defining these professional boundaries makes a highly complex surrogacy process more stable and easier to manage. Surrogacy is never simple. However, organizing the pieces properly ensures the process does not become chaotic. Viewing surrogacy as a sequenced map of professionals provides intended parents with emotional stability. Clarity regarding your timeline and insurance coverage creates the momentum needed to move forward. Our core philosophy is built on comprehensive planning. Organizing the board must happen before you become emotionally invested in a match. This organized map covers the 5 essential pillars: embryos, matching, legal, escrow, and coordination. Families currently navigating IVF, embryos, or egg donation need to understand how these pieces connect to the surrogacy steps that follow. EDSI helps families organize this entire sequence before they make their first move. Begin with a clear structure in place for the family you are building. California's new IVF coverage law provides a useful starting point for Phase 1. With experienced coordination, you can navigate the entire surrogacy journey with confidence.